Jesus goes on to espouse a parable about a king who had a servant with a massive debt he couldn't possibly be paying his entire lifetime. The servant begs that the debt be forgiven. Actually, he offers to pay it back. He says, give me more time to pay it back. The king has pity and clears the debt. This servant then goes to another servant who owes him a fraction of as much money, grabs him by the throat, says, pay me now, has him thrown in jail. Word gets back to the king. The king goes and gets the forgiven servant, calls him wicked, says, I just forgave you this massive debt. Shouldn't you have forgiven the little bitty debt? And then has him tortured and thrown in jail until he could repay. The problem for the forgiven servant is not that he did not have a legitimate claim. I want you to understand that. In forgiving, it does not mean that you don't have a right to what you believe that you are entitled to. The unforgiving servant actually did have debt and money owed to him. That he wouldn't try to collect it was not a problem. That he threw the man in prison when he couldn't repay and asked for more time is where we run into problems. Most scholars and preachers will note that if somebody forgives a massive sum, you are then honor bound to pay that forward. Right. We've talked in the past about grace and receiving grace. And when you receive grace, there are strings attached. There are three things expected when you receive grace or from a patron, or when you receive a favor from the patron, which was understood to be grace. One, that if you have opportunity to pay it back, you will pay it back. Even if you can't pay it back in your lifetime, every opportunity that you see to try to do something, you pay it back. Number two, that you remain loyal to the patron. Number three, that you act to try to increase the honor of the patron. So since this man had a debt forgiven, he was honor bound under the terms of forgiveness to act in a way that would have increased the honor of the man who forgave him, and throwing this dude in prison who owed him a fraction of the amount was a violation of that principle. And that is why the king threw him in prison. So those of us who have accepted forgiveness from God are honor bound to act in a way that increases the honor of God in the eyes of other people. Let's keep moving. The other problem that is often overlooked is the fact that the unforgiving servant had another one of the king's servants thrown in jail. The unforgiving servant goes to another servant and has him thrown in jail. That wasn't his, it didn't belong, that person didn't belong to him to have him thrown in jail. That's the king's servant. They may owe me, but they're not mine. I can't just do what I want with them. That somebody else has claim to them. I can't just up and throw them in jail. Many times we are quick to condemn a person who doesn't pay what we think they owe and forget that these are not our souls to condemn.
That's right.
These are God's souls. They may owe us, we may have a right to go and collect, but when it comes to condemning them and demanding, we are limited in what we can do because they don't belong to us. These are God's people. These are God's souls. If they are brothers, if they are sinners, if they are pagans, if they have other, the people, all souls belong to God, and that must govern how I treat them. I can't condemn somebody to hell because they have mistreated me. That's God's soul.
All right.